So I think I know what is the worst movie of this year already, and that is Madame Web. It is a revolting film just to look at. The dialogue was awful. I remember just like one line at some point towards the end, and it was like just this quick line that kind of sums up the way that this movie exists. And it was like, the building is structurally unstable and there are explosives inside of it. Like, it is just like, everything sounds AI or computer generated. It just sounds so unauthentic. All the acting is honestly kind of pitiful. You know, Sydney Sweeney cannot even save this movie, and she's by far the most talented actor here. At least her character I kind of believed, but everyone else just was really not good whatsoever. And if you do want to see this movie, just go into it knowing that you are going to watch one of the worst movies you will ever see in your entire life. This is definitely the worst superhero movie I think I have ever seen. I mean, I keep having all these worsts. And one other thing was, like, during these random like dialogue sequences, they did one at the beginning and one at the end, and then they never used the camera like this at any other point in the film. It would be like, I can't give you the spiders, they're gonna save thousands of people. No, you're gonna give me the spiders now. Usually with these types of movies, I feel like it takes a little bit, at least like 10 minutes, to set in that this is one of the worst movies you will ever see. But for this movie, it set in within like 2 minutes. The editing, oh my god, the editing was just atrocious. During an opening scene where they were like in an ambulance and trying to establish some of the main characters, they probably had like 30 to 40 cuts in 1 minute. It was just so fast-paced, like an action sequence during non-action sequences. And because of the disastrous editing in those regular scenes, when then they tried to jump to like the, you know, Madame Web power editing, where like it would kind of time jump around, it was just really confusing and off-putting because those scenes were edited the exact same way as normal scenes. So they didn't really feel different, and maybe that was intentional, but it just really threw me off and just made the experience of watching this movie even more painful. But luckily, this movie was not like so bad it's bad. This movie, I felt like, was so bad it's good. I laughed a lot during this movie. I had a lot of fun watching this movie because of how bad it was. And I just can't believe this movie exists and this movie got made. Like, how did none of the producers, none of like the writers, the director, how did no one realize at any point during this film that it was just atrocious? I mean, whoever was playing the villain, literally every single time he spoke, he felt like a children's Netflix show villain. Just in the way that the lines were being delivered and the way he spoke it, it sounded so fake and so unauthentic. This movie is bogus. And that's a kind of goofy word to use to describe a movie, but it just is. And I wish I had some sort of good thing to say about this film, but I don't. And not to mention that the majority of this movie is literally a setup for another movie that we will probably never get. So thank you, Sony. I'm gonna give it the lowest rating I've ever given a movie I've reviewed on this channel before, that being 1 star. I mean, just half a star as like a bonus for, you know, the fact that this movie exists, because it really should be a half-star movie. But what about all of you? Did you think this movie was as bad as I did? Did you actually like this movie? Did you think it was even worse than I was describing? Let me know in the comments down below. I also have a review of Bob Marley out, which you can check out right over here, so feel free to check that out. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.